Alright, finally I'm getting to the airbrush tutorial for liquid crystal. So what you'll need is liquid crystal from Solar Color Dust, a measuring cup of some sort, a little bit of water, and a dropper, at least for the way that I'm doing it. And of course your cup, which has to be painted black before you start this. Now to dilute the liquid crystal, you dilute it 20% by volume. So I'm going to use 1 milliliter, and 20% of 1 milliliter is 0.2 milliliters. So I'm going to see if I can get this to work. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it right because I'm not exactly measuring properly. So I'm going to take my dropper and use that to extract the liquid crystal. If you want to be meticulous, 1 milliliter is about 20 fluid drops. There are a lot of variations and variables to that because not every dropper puts out the same size drop, but we're going to try it this way. Yeah, we'll definitely need more than that. I'm just going to pour it in. This stuff is super thick. I went on their website today and I guess they changed things up so it doesn't look like this anymore. They have a sprayable one now, so you may not have this issue if you purchase it with their new stuff. And I'm just gonna put a few drops of water in to dilute it and gonna kind of eyeball it as I go. And then mix it up. And the reason that I'm adding water to it is so that it's thin enough to go through the airbrush. It's got to be pretty thin. You can also use airbrush thinner if you have it. I should have said airbrush paint thinner. I'm going to put a little bit more water. About 5 drops. Now that you've mixed it and your concoction is pretty runny, it's time to put it in the airbrush. Now I am no airbrush professional. I'm just winging it. So if I'm doing this right, then it's pure luck. Also, I highly recommend using, when you're airbrushing, either pre-mix this with and have it with a cap, have it in a container with a cap, or use your airbrush attachment that has a top, because it will dry out on the top, on the surface, and that will mess you up. Now it's time to airbrush. I have there's no rhyme or reason to this. If there is, let me know so I can do it better next time. I forgot to mention I'm going up and down as the cup is on the turner so that it's rotating and I can try to get as even as coverage as possible. Um, it's almost invisible. It's really hard to see this stuff. But just getting that bottom done, you see how much I have left still. There's plenty in there. Now I've done pretty much the whole cup. I'm checking for streaks or any inconsistencies like bare spots. Um, I did get some splatter in there, but hopefully it won't be too bad later. So now you just wait for it to dry a little bit, but since it's airbrushed, it happens pretty quickly. And then continue on. I'm gonna use my heat gun to test it out, and yeah, my heat gun's a mess. Looks like it's working. This is what I call instant gratification right here. If you see more spots you need to cover, just continue spraying. Now you can see where it's going on because of the temperature difference. And that's it, folks. That is how you spray liquid crystal on a cup. Let's hit it with the heat one more time. Check it out. Now once you're done with this process, do not touch it until it is completely dry. This stuff, it turns into something like a close to a latex texture, and it will rub off and it's impossible to fix. And if you mess up one spot, you'll have to do the whole thing over again, and it's such a waste. So once you're completely dry, you're going to want to spray it with a sealer, and that's just to protect it from anything like scratches or scrapes or smudging when you're applying your epoxy. Personally, I like to apply the decal directly on top of this under the sealer, of course. This will be under the sealer and the decal would go on top because I want to create as thin a barrier as possible um, between the heat of the hand and the actual liquid crystal. So if you have too many layers of epoxy, the heat won't go into the cup and you'll lose some of the effect. So try to keep the epoxy layers thin for the best results.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to click the bell button and subscribe.